Your child's amazing brain. Hey, welcome back. If you have a little one at home, whether they're a newborn, a toddler, or somewhere in between, this video is made for you. Here's something that stopped me in my tracks the first time I really understood it. Your child's brain is growing faster right now than it ever will again in their entire life. In the first 5 years alone, the brain forms over 1 million new neural connections every single second. Every single second. And here's the part that matters most. Those connections aren't being shaped by anything fancy. They're being shaped by you, by your voice, your routines, your touch, your reactions. The ordinary everyday moments of being a parent are, quite literally, building your child's brain. In this video, we're going to walk through what neuroscience has discovered about those crucial early years and what it means for the choices you're making as a parent every day. This isn't about being perfect. It's about understanding the incredible power you already have. The hidden problem in modern childhood. Let's start with something a little uncomfortable. Because the truth is, despite all our modern advantages, many children today are growing up in an environment that quietly works against healthy brain development. Think about the average morning in a family home. Parents are exhausted, phones are buzzing, the TV is on in the background, and everyone is rushing. Kids are handed tablets to keep them occupied. Meals happen in front of screens. Bedtime routines get cut short. It's not a criticism, it's the reality of modern life, and most parents are doing the best they can with enormous pressure on their shoulders. But child development researchers are raising some important flags. Studies show that children today spend significantly more time in passive, screen-based entertainment and significantly less time in the kinds of activities that actually build strong brains, things like unstructured play, face-to-face conversation, storytelling, and time in nature. The American Academy of Pediatrics has noted that children are spending more hours in front of screens than they are in meaningful back-and-forth interaction with the adults around them. And it's that back and forth, what researchers call serve and return interaction, that is one of the most powerful drivers of healthy brain architecture. The hidden problem isn't technology itself. It's that we've gradually replaced some of the most developmentally rich experiences with passive substitutes, without always realizing what we were swapping out. What childhood looked like before screens and smart toys. For most of human history, childhood looked radically different from what it does today. And in many ways, it was more aligned with what developing brains actually need. Children spent enormous amounts of time outdoors, playing freely without adult direction. They climbed trees, invented games, argued about rules, got bored, and figured out what to do about it. They sat around fires and dinner tables listening to adults tell stories. They helped with real work, cooking, planting, building, and felt the genuine satisfaction of contributing to family life. Toys were simple. A stick became a sword, or a spoon, or a magic wand. A pile of mud became a city. A cardboard box became a spaceship. And in the process of all that imaginative play, children were doing something extraordinary. They were building their brains. Neuroscientists now understand that this kind of open-ended, child-led play activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making, creativity, emotional regulation, and problem-solving. When a child decides what a game is, makes up rules, negotiates with a friend, or figures out how to build something that keeps falling over, they are exercising some of the most sophisticated brain functions we have as human beings. This isn't nostalgia for a simpler time. It's a recognition that some of the old-fashioned ways of raising children were accidentally perfectly calibrated to how brains develop. The good news is, we don't have to go back in time. We just have to bring some of those principles forward. What neuroscience reveals about the first 5 years. Let's talk about what's actually happening inside your child's brain, because once you understand it, you'll never look at a toddler tantrum or a bedtime story the same way again. At birth, a baby's brain contains roughly 100 billion neurons, almost all the brain cells they'll ever have. But most of those neurons aren't yet connected. The first years of life are all about building those connections, called synapses, and the experiences a child has literally determined which connections get made and which ones get pruned away. Researchers call this neuroplasticity, the brain's remarkable ability to reshape itself in response to experience. And during the first 5 years, neuroplasticity is at its absolute peak. This window is sometimes called the sensitive period for development, because the brain is unusually receptive to learning and unusually vulnerable to the absence of nurturing experiences. One of the most important findings from developmental neuroscience is the role of stress. When a child experiences chronic stress, whether from conflict at home, unpredictable caregiving, or neglect, the brain's stress response system gets overactivated. Over time, this can actually reshape brain architecture in ways that affect learning, memory, and emotional health for years to come. Researchers at Harvard Center on the Developing Child call this toxic stress, and it's one of the most significant risks to healthy brain development. On the flip side, warm and responsive caregiving has been shown to literally build brain structure. Studies using brain imaging have found that children who experienced secure, nurturing attachments with their caregivers showed measurably more growth in the hippocampus, the brain region critical for learning and memory, compared to children who experienced inconsistent or unresponsive care. The takeaway isn't scary. It's actually incredibly empowering. You don't need a neuroscience degree. You just need to be present, responsive, and warm. And your child's brain will do the rest. 5 powerful things. Children need more than toys. So if brain development is built through experience rather than expensive products, what are the actual experiences that matter most? Here are 5 things your child needs far more than any toy on the shelf. 1. Responsive, back-and-forth connection. When your baby babbles and you babble back, that's not just cute. That's a neural workout. Serve and return interaction, where a child initiates and a caregiver responds, is one of the most fundamental builders of brain architecture. It develops language, social intelligence, and emotional regulation all at once. You don't need to do anything elaborate. Just look them in the eyes, respond to their sounds, narrate what you're doing together. You're picking up the red block. Now you dropped it. Oh, you want it back? That running commentary is pure brain fuel. 2. Unstructured play. Play is not a break from learning. Play is how children learn. When children play freely, especially without adult direction, they develop executive function skills like planning, flexibility, and self-control. These skills are stronger predictors of academic success than IQ. Let your child get bored sometimes. Boredom is the doorway to creativity. 3. Stories and conversation. Reading aloud to your child, even from infancy, does far more than build vocabulary. It develops narrative thinking, the ability to understand sequences of events, cause and effect, and other people's emotions. A child who hears thousands of stories grows up with a mental library of human experience to draw from. And conversations at the dinner table? Research has linked family mealtime talk to stronger language skills and better emotional health in children. 4. Physical movement and nature. The developing brain and body are deeply interconnected. Gross motor activity, running, climbing, jumping, rolling, activates the cerebellum and supports cognitive development. Studies have shown that children who have more outdoor playtime show better attention, lower stress hormones, and stronger problem-solving abilities. You don't need a nature retreat. A backyard, a park, a muddy puddle will do just fine. 5. Predictable routines and emotional safety. The developing brain craves predictability. When a child knows what to expect, the same bedtime routine, familiar mealtimes, consistent responses from caregivers, their nervous system can relax and shift resources toward learning and growth. Conversely, chaos and unpredictability keep the brain in a low-level state of alert. You don't have to be rigid, you just have to be reliable. Raising independent, creative, and resilient children. Everything we've talked about today points toward one beautiful truth. The goal of early childhood isn't to fill children with information or get them ahead on academic milestones. The goal is to build a brain that is curious, flexible, connected, and capable of handling whatever life brings. Independent children aren't born independent. They're raised in environments where they're gradually given the chance to try things, fail safely, and discover their own capabilities. When you resist the urge to fix every problem for your toddler and instead say, what do you think we should do? You're building the neural pathways for self-reliance. Creative children are raised in spaces where open-ended play is valued over passive entertainment, where a rainy afternoon might mean couch cushion forts and imaginary worlds instead of another episode on the tablet. Creativity isn't a talent. It's a habit of mind, and it's built through practice. Resilient children have one thing in common above all else. They have at least one secure, stable, nurturing relationship with an adult who believes in them. Research from Harvard's Center on the Developing Child has found that this single factor, a consistent, caring relationship, is the most powerful buffer against adversity in a child's life. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. So if you take one thing away from this video, let it be this: you are not just a parent. You are a brain builder. Every time you get down on the floor and play, every time you read one more book at bedtime, every time you stay calm when your child falls apart, you are literally shaping the architecture of a human mind. That's not pressure. That's a privilege. Thanks so much for watching. If this video resonated with you, share it with another parent who might need to hear it. And in the comments, tell me, what's one small thing you do every day that you think really matters for your child? I'd love to know. Thank you for watching. I'm Angela. See you in my next video.